So this is a short video on how to use Excel to create a user interface for your customer, specifically for banks, finance house, leasing house, where customer can know how much they need to pay to on a monthly or yearly basis to write off their loan. So we have this case in point. We have a leasing house that has that provide cars to customer on a credit arrangement. This customer has an option to pay over 2 years, 12 months, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, as the case may be. So I want to create a interface such that customer can select the car make, they can select the year, they can select the financing, they can select the financing amount, they can select the financing tenure, and they can also input their equity contribution. So customer can select the car make here. I've used data validation to create it. Using data validation, just for it to come here to create, click on list and source, link your source to the car make that are available. So that's the same way for here. You go to data validation such that the customer should type story soon. So I've already edited my error message to have please use the drop down. So how do you edit your error message? If you go to your data validation, you just come here to error alerts and you can put your error message here. So that's that. Also, so the customer have selected car make, select here also. So to pop out the amount, you can use your index match. So I have my index match here. I have my array. So you have this index match here. I have my array. This is my array. Then my row number. So match will return my row number for me. So the row number depends on what the customer selects as car make. So that's what the row number depends on. Exact match. Remember, I put it as exact match. Of course, I use match also to return my column number. So the column number depends on what the customer selects as the car, the year. So of course, to this array, then I put exact match. So you have that. So depending on what you select, the figures will be changing. Yeah, so the financing option, of course, I can use Vlookup to bring out the number of payments. So you have this, then I look it up to this, then this is the, so you can also use index match also, but I choose to use Vlookup. Yeah, so equity contribution, so I can use data validation. Let's say now in this data validation, we want the customer to put equity contribution, say between 15%. So I go to decimal between, so you can select anything greater than, select between 20%, 0.2, between 20% and 50%, 0.5. So put okay. So if the customer should select 10%, it will go. So the value enter is restricted. Of course, you can also edit this error message. So anything you choose, so then put 30%. Yeah. So if that is that, this is basic calculation. So there is just this multiplied by, that's the initial payment. Then the loan amount is just the balancing figure. This minus the initial payment. Then we have the monthly repayment. So you have a formula in Excel called PMC. So I have PMC. So the reason I put the minus sign before it because it returns a negative figure because as a payment and outflow. So the rate is this. Remember to convert your rate to a monthly basis. Then it returns your number of payments. You already have that here. Then you have your present value of the figure is the loan amount, no future value. Then you have at the end of the period. So your payment is at the end of each period, say at the end of the month. So you have that. So this is your monthly repayments required to write off this loan in 4 months. So I want to create an amortization schedule, a very analytical, or let me say a very an interface, an amortization schedule that changes based on your selection. So now ideally I should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 depending. I should have 1, 2, 3, 4 here. So I don't want to have 1, 2, because what if the customer selects 1? I don't want to see 1, 2, 3, 5. I just want to see 1 if the customer selects 1 month financing. So what I will do is just to create a formula using if. So if I have a formula, first thing I'm telling the formula that if the customer did not select anything, of course, if the customer does not select anything, this place will be empty. So I'm saying this place is 0. If this place is empty, of course, let me lock it. If the customer did not select any figure, that is this place is 0, then it should return empty here. I don't want to have any row. But if not, I want to use, so I create a formula. So you can use different formulas. So I want to use the row formula here. So normally I don't want to have 1 there, but I can use a formula to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, as the case may be. So I use a row formula telling Excel that the role of this row 17 minus row 16 will give me 1, because row 17 will return 17, row 16 will return 16, so 17 minus 16 will give me 1. You can decide to use anything, just that you have to create it such a way that it fits into what you're doing. So row 16, so you can have that. So I have so the purpose is just to, so I have this. So if I should leave the formula this, if I should leave it this way, so let me show you what it does. So if I leave it this way, so what Excel does is just to help me bring 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 as okay. But I don't want Excel to show 5, 6, 7 because I've only selected 4 payments here. So what I'll do is to put a condition in this also. So a condition, what it does is I'm telling Excel that okay, so if the outcome of this, what you have here, if the outcome is greater than the number of payments selected by the customer, then don't return, just return blank. If not, you can then return your outcome. So you can then return your outcome. So it's more like I've created a nested if. Then I can drag down as much as I want. I can drag down as much as I want. So if we should go on, so you can see if I should select 6, you go to 6. If I should select 3, you're left with 3. So like that. Yeah, so the opening balance, I create an if formula also to say Excel, if this place is empty, then what you should return here should also be empty. Telling Excel if this place is empty, what you should return here should also be empty. So if not, you should now then give me my loan opening balance is your loan amount, initial loan amount. So you can see, let me drag it down to this place. I'll edit it, I'm just dragging that because I've logged it. So this place, your principal repayments, okay, I'll do that last. Your interest payments is also, it's not this, it should be your opening balance multiplied by your interest. Don't forget, it's monthly interest payments. So lock your interest, very important. Then this is always your monthly payment is already calculated, so lock it in. This is your monthly payments. Lock your closing balance is always equals to opening balance plus interest minus monthly payments sorry, then your principal repayments, which is not really, is always your monthly payments minus your interest. So anyhow you want to, you can. So if I should drag, you can drag this down. So remember, the subsequent period opening balance won't be the same as that. So opening balance or subsequent period is always, of course, if this is, you should return this. If not, it should give me opening balance of current period is closing balance of previous period. Remember that. So I can drag down the other guys, can drag them down. Then we have our formula. So we have a final answer. So let me drag it down to let me stop at 40. Same thing, I can drag this down also. I can drag this down to 40. So now if you have this, so it's cool if you have this. So we have the customer select 8 months, it goes on like that. But yeah, you need to put some conditional formatting to make it more final. So what it does, you can see the cells they are automatically updating itself depending on what the customer is selecting.